What's up, guys? How we going? We got a big news here. Fred Johnson,
How
Eagles
about that?
signing a guy that I'm not sure that a lot of us expected, but I got to give a shout out to Anthony DeBona because he called it last week whenever we recorded. But Thomas, Fred Johnson is back.
He's back. How about that? Philadelphia amends for a mistake in the offseason. This is clearly Howie Roseman going, listen, we tried to make it cheaper by drafting somebody. The two tackles that they drafted late in the 2024 or 2025 April draft, they've been okay. I think Miles Hinton's been a little bit better than Cameron Williams, but this is very clearly Howie going, if we lose Lane Johnson or we lose Jordan Mailata, it could get a little tough out there in terms of pass protection with the Landon Dickerson injury paired with that. Let's bring in a very capable swing tackle. Remember, he played a couple of games last year, most notably versus Trey Hendrickson in that blowout win against the Cincinnati Bengals. And there's a lot of good film of Fred Johnson going one-on-one with Trey Hendrickson and holding his own. It's a seventh-round draft pick, Josh. It's not that much to give up here. This is how he's dotting his I's and crossing his T's before another Super Bowl run.
Yes, absolutely love it. By the way, as always, shout out to you guys in the chat. Drop a like for us if you're happy to see Fred Johnson back, or just, drop a like for us because we appreciate it and helps us out. There's the news on your screen, which we'll set up for you if you want to check that out, but officially to make news of that. But there it is. Adam Schefter, the official news. Fred Johnson is back as the swing tackle. And Thomas, like you mentioned there, it's like we saw this throughout all of training, or most of training camp, getting the reports, everything else. We were there for one of the days, of course, but just the reports that you saw preseason, you're going through the roster. I released, and this is kind of a given, but I was like, I'm going to be out of town, so obviously back now, but I was like, I'm going to be out of town. We'll release 53-man roster projection, see what happens. Sure as the world, there's going to be trades and everything else. So it's completely obliterated as far as, who's going to make the roster. But that's a good thing. It's a good thing because I was sitting there and I was like, you could have taken, do you want Kendall Lamb? Maybe. Do you want Matt Pryor? Maybe. You could just name so many different guys on the roster of who's going to make it, who's not going to. Kenyon Green, where does he go? Is he staying? And it just went time and time again. But the one big position that we kept on saying on live streams during some of the preseason game streams that we had was, what do you do about edge? Because, in particular, obviously for preseason game 2, but it was like Matt Pryor, Kendall Lamb giving up just nonstop pressure. And you're like, yeah, those are the veterans. They're kind of supposed to be understanding of the role. Like, that's not expected or anticipated. Sure, the quarterback play, whatever, if you want to make the discrepancy there, the argument of Kyle McCord and DTR. But regardless, not as good. Now you get a guy who's familiar. We've seen it. He's proven it. Obviously, he was able to get the contract from Jacksonville, and Howie decided not to bring him back because of that and saying, oh, we'll figure things out. But this is where, as you say, Howie... He figures things out. He'll admit some mistakes. This is his way of admitting it to say, we'll bring him back here. And it's basically for nothing trade-wise. And then, you just absorb the contract. But I love it. It's big time.
Howie makes mistakes, but Howie also understands when his Super Bowl window is very much wide open. And it is wide open right now. And we talked about this almost every time Philadelphia does a move like this over the course of the past 3 years, right? Howie Roseman has learned from his mistakes of not having depth. In the past, when Philadelphia would going to be up and down, a fringe playoff football team, early Carson Wentz eras, if they lost one key player, it was done. It was literally over. If Lane Johnson were to go down, Philadelphia would be in big trouble any year, maybe a little bit less this year because the team is so stacked, but you don't want to take any sort of risk. Because what happens if Philadelphia, Josh, is 8-1, right? Let's say they're vaulting towards the number 1 seed, everything's going great, and heaven forbid Lane Johnson's done. He's done for the year. Remember back 2017, Jason Peters. They had a very solid backup in Halapoulivaati Vaitai, say that 5 times fast, and they won a Super Bowl because Vaitai played so well against James Harrison in that Super Bowl against the Patriots. And so now you have Fred Johnson, who is not the second coming or anything. He's not Lane Johnson reincarnated, but he is extremely capable. What Philadelphia does not want to do, same with the Sam Howell trade that I talked about during my live stream while you were driving back from your CrossFit event, is they don't want to throw a rookie in Kyle McCord out there week 1 if something were to happen to Jalen Hurts, and the same would go. They don't want Miles Hinton or Cameron Williams going out there against Micah Parsons, maybe not, but the Dallas Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Rams, that offensive line, they want somebody that they trust, knows the system, and can spin up very quickly. Another key factor here, Josh, with the season so close, right around the corner, the learning curve for Fred Johnson, it's going to be a lot less than it would be for some random offensive tackle coming under Jeff Stoutland for the first time.
Exactly. And that's one of the obviously, huge components of it, because you can't just go sign someone off the street necessarily, but, oh, sure, they'll be plug and play, right? Because even if you make the case in the argument of Mekhi Becton, he still had plenty of time to get acclimated to Jeff Stoutland's system, be able to figure out the zone blocking schemes, everything. Was obviously the switch from tackle to guard, but still to be there in the system. So if you're looking at out there, potential moves, who it was going to be, I mean, it was almost a given, and hindsight's 2020. But again, I got to say shout out to Anthony because he's clearly got Howie's number and called it before it even happened on Friday or Saturday whenever we recorded the video. So I know I'm seeing other comments too. I'm gonna get to some of these super chats as well. Of course, naturally, the next inclination becomes, now if only Howie could bring back another former Eagle. Should he bring back Isaiah Rodgers in the cornerback
Call
position?
Isaiah Rodgers.
That's a whole other story.
Call Isaiah Rodgers.
So, we would take it. We certainly would. Hosea with a 2, appreciate that, says, since we're making trades, and again, this is where it is, get a damn corner, please. That is lots of Isaiah Rodgers.
I bet Isaiah Rodgers would come back in a heartbeat. That would be the ultimate admission that Philadelphia did the wrong move by not re-signing Isaiah Rodgers. With 99% of Eagle fans think that it was for how cheap he was, $7 million, right, for 2 seasons. But that would be the ultimate, my bad. And if you're Isaiah Rodgers, you'd be immediately the starter on the outside. I think he'd be a competition. He would know the defense, vault him right in there, and he'd be good to go. But that's way less likely than a backup offensive line. We got to remember, they didn't just trade for a starter. Sam Howell wasn't a starter, right? I mean, John Mechie wasn't a starter. Howie's making sure he has all the tools he needs to make this team bulletproof in case injuries were to happen, because a big factor last year is that Philadelphia was very, very healthy compared to a lot of teams making deep runs in the postseason.
Exactly. And you even say that too, because they totally were. You look at the numbers, the analytics, everything, like comparatively very healthy team. But even in that season, I think the 30,000-foot view is to look at last year and think, yes, we were healthy because we were, but there were a lot of different elements throughout the season for a couple weeks at a time. AJ's down, Devontae Smith, but look at the offensive line here for this move. And again, that's where it's obviously coming from. You never know. You need the backup depth. You need the swing tackle position. And there clearly was no confidence. We didn't necessarily have it either, but clearly no confidence on Howie's side, Jeff Stoutland's side. Bring in the guy. You got Fred Johnson. Help solidifying. By the way, I'll throw it up here on the screen as well because we got some other people joining and asking what was the trade, the compensation. Again, it's extremely middle. It's basically nothing. Like Howie will recoup if you believe he even lost anything, but he will recoup whatever it was. But officially, there you go, seeing it from Adam Schefter, but it is in exchange for the 2026 7th-round picks. That's the swap there with the Jaguars. So
Nothing. Sam Howell was nothing. John Mechie was nothing. This is nothing. We talk about Philadelphia having, $1 billion draft picks next year. They've hardly tapped into those. I mean, the 2025 fifth they sent for Sam Howell is like 1 of 30, it feels like. I mean, Philadelphia is going to continue to have the ammo to pull the trigger on moves like this or greater if they were to go ahead and do it. And now, there were a couple of inside reporters saying that Philadelphia was not done following John Mechie. They said they were not done following Sam Howell about 10 hours ago, or less than that now, probably 8 hours ago. Are they done after Fred Johnson? I don't know. We're going to see what the cut down looks like, but cornerback does kind of remain that, white whale for Philadelphia Eagle fans as we wait to see if Howie trusts Adoree Jackson or if he doesn't.
It's one of the big questions, one of the bigger remaining red flags, I believe, and understandably so. But again, this is a really big move. You're trying to solidify the offense.
This is a big move.
And you take care of it with Fred Johnson. We're not saying, and no one is, and no one's believing this. He's not a Jordan Mailata. He's not a Lane Johnson. But as he held in check Trey Hendrickson, as you brought up a second ago, that speaks for itself. If he can do it from time to time, you're not asking for it from week to week, all throughout the season. But in a pinch, if one of those guys gets injured or banged up, they can't play a game or a couple games, you know that it's proven, whereas clearly we'd not seen that from the other vets. Tyler with a 10 bomb, appreciate that, says we all know how he ain't done, but do you think he's done this close to the season, or do you think what position is next? My opinion, Ringo and draft capital for a solid cornerback 2. Go Birds. By the way, love this trade.
I would bet money that he's done. I'm not saying I want him to be done. I would do a Ringo and picks for an elite corner. I think he's done.
That's fair. I probably tend to agree there. This was the move. Did not necessarily call this one, so I can't take the credit specifically for that. But it was one of those O-line naturally. Quarterback was the first, obviously, and like you broke down earlier on your other live stream with Sam Howell. But then it's like, okay, another adjustment. I think, and I know that Ja'Cory Bennett left some to be desired, and who knows where that falls. Adoree Jackson, I still think that it's like, you know what, we're going to figure things out. Like it maybe is Adoree Jackson, potentially Ja'Cory Bennett finds his way and ends up getting onto the field more so. But I just can't envision that he does that. Not to say Howie's gone, totally different direction and blows our minds and gets a crazy corner. But yeah, I'm in agreement there. Matt with the 10 bomb. Let's go. Appreciate that, Matt. He's the man. Says, what's up to the best 2 Eagles content creators? Go Birds.
Appreciate that.
Always
Go
appreciate
Birds.
it to everybody. Very exciting stuff. And it's crazy, too, because we're like, a week and a half away from season opener. So everybody hanging out on the stream now, we'll be streaming live for all the game streams. Come hang out there. Lots of fun, exciting stuff planned there. Eli also, what's up? There we go. Got the 7. Says, I'm back. So happy about this move. Feels great to get some good O-line depth. Thanks for hopping on so quickly. We try to do that. Whatever.
I think Fred Johnson,
as much as possible.
We try, and we have a fantasy draft. My personal fantasy draft that Josh is in 5 minutes. So we were jumping on before the fantasy draft we were waiting on. So, by the way, quickly here, Josh, Fred Johnson, this is a great move for him because he wasn't starting with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was just a swing tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Lane Johnson could retire at the end of this year. He said so on a podcast if they were to win it.
It's true,
Go back-to-back, he could retire, and then Fred Johnson could be the heir apparent if there's a development there that, Jeff Stoutland is happy with. So, you were going to be a swing tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now you come back underneath the best O-line coach and the best 2 tackles in the league. Learn even more. Probably get some spot starts here and there because, listen, at least Lane has missed a couple of games almost every single year the past 5. And it's kind of a win-win situation. So I feel like he's probably excited to move back to Philadelphia as well. And he clearly loved the team and loved what they were building last year and won a Super Bowl. Why not win another one?
Absolutely. It goes without saying, but, we could say it. Do you choose the Eagles or do you choose the Jaguars? Come on. Shaq with a 2. Appreciate that. Considering the tough schedule, I love our depth. It's better. Certainly a better spot. We will take that.
Much better spot.
John with a 5 also. He's believing Howie is not done, but also saying not Simmons. So not done with the move, but not just
I don't think Simmons.
So
I agree.
Safety there. Also with the Go Birds. Go Birds. Appreciate that, John.
There you go.
B Pumper, I believe I'm saying that correctly, with a 5. I don't know, fellas. This is a lot of moves on already a loaded offense. Where's the damn defensive help, Howie?
I don't know.
I mean,
I really don't know.
I don't know, because this is not the equivalent. I understand it, right? But, this is not the equivalent of getting your starting safety. As you said, this is not a starter. So I'm trying to rationalize it as far as, positionally, you say, oh, we have our starter. Because look, there's Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata. This would be the equivalent of saying we have a clear-cut Quinyon Mitchell and go back to last year. Quinyon Mitchell, Darius Slay. Who do we need as a backup, right? That would be the move. It's not like we have Lane Johnson and Matt Pryor. No offense to Matt Pryor, but we just are missing a complete big offensive tackle. I hear you, but I think the defense, they got a pretty high ceiling, Don't sleep. I get the frustration, potential concerns, but I think they're going to be all right.
I agree.
Slim Reaper 006 with a 5. I think it's the last one here on the Super Chats. We do appreciate you guys. Again, about to hop off for a fantasy draft. But if people just watch this back, because we covered all the details for Fred Johnson. I'll put this up on the screen as I'm doing this last Super Chat, though. Slim Reaper, my effing guys, y'all really came so far from this time last year. Thank you.
It's true.
We do.
It's true.
Appreciate that. It's
over 100,000 subscribers combined between both of these guys. Between both of us, I should say. Since we were here last year, is what we're saying. So,
it is pretty ridiculous. It's not lost on us, obviously. So we do appreciate you guys. Could not do it without you. Again, people were asking one more time. It is on the screen for you here. I'll mention it, but rewatch it as well. We cover the full details. Yep. Fred Johnson, back in Philly. All you got to give up is a 7th round draft pick.
That's it.
It's nothing.
That's it.
Your guy. Yeah, Kendall Lamb was getting worked last preseason games. A lot of people were saying yes. So Matt Pryor did not make us feel great either. But it's better. It's a better situation. Let us know in the comments section. We'll be hanging out there too. Thoughts on this trade, other moves you potentially think Howie's going to make, or do you think he does not? As always, if there's other bigger news, we'll jump back on for a live. It probably will be happening in the next couple of days, assuming there's moves if you're in that camp. But otherwise, we still got videos and everything else. So appreciate you guys as always. Thomas, I would say best of luck in the fantasy draft, but you really don't.
Yeah, we'll see you in 2 minutes.
So yeah, there we go.
And then we have our channel. By the way, our channel fantasy draft is Wednesday. In case
go.
people are worried, this is my personal fantasy draft. The channel one that you have signed up for, everybody, but a couple
Good
emails
call.
have not been
Yes.
answered.
Yep.
It's not this one. Okay, that's Wednesday at 7:30. Anyway, sign off.
And also, as you mentioned that, good call out. I have refunded people that were getting messaging if they were in the league or not.
Good.
So you got the invites if you're in it. Unfortunately, it filled super quickly. So for a lot of people, you're getting refunds. You're probably seeing those, but just in case you didn't, you're seeing this now. So be on the lookout. But appreciate you guys as always. Go Birds.
Go Birds.